Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast, where every week we want to give you encouragement through different means such as testimonies, dialogues with guests, along with diving into the scriptures and exploring the incredible, life-transforming truths inside it. So with all that being said, here's another episode for you to tune into and listen to. God bless. Enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast with me, Jerry D. Today, we have two very dear friends of mine, the wonderful Hannah and the wonderful Sam, right? And today's topic is another episode of Before/After the Ring. You know it already. You know I'm a lover of love. I love people being in love, and we're going to dive into it today. We're going to make a lot of the awkwardness around it just plain and straight and simple, and simplify it for you so that you can trust God as you make steps to progress in your dating life, your married life, your single life, whatever it may be. But Samuel and Hannah, I want to thank you guys so much for firstly giving up of your time, and secondly for your friendship over the last number of months. It's actually been a blessing to me to know that yes, you live in Waterford, I live in Cork, but Sam, I've been enjoying it, man, just the friendship that we have over the last maybe 2 years. And I think that since Christmas time, our friendship has just got really deepened. And I'm really so thankful to have you both on the podcast. How are you both doing?
Good now, yeah. No, thanks, Jerry, for having us. We are both very proud to be here, and obviously our first time here, so
Yeah.
all excited to be here. Though it definitely over the last, especially over Nathan's wedding as well. Like it kind of got closer, so it was it's really good, man. Really good.
Special.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And we can dive into that a bit over the course of the dialogue as well, because I really believe that I was ministered to at Nathan's wedding at several different aspects of the day that I think of very fondly. But you know what? We're going to dive into it, right? And usually when I have guests on, what I do is, a rapid fire round. It's like, oh, what's your favorite color? Blue, da da da. But we're going to switch it up. I'm going to do a rapid fire round, but I'm going to ask Samuel questions about his wife, Hannah. And then, Hannah, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about Samuel. It's not to see how well you know each other. It's just to have a bit of banter.
Good. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So who wants to go first? Ladies first?
Okay,
Samuel,
I'm going first.
Samuel first. Okay,
Yeah,
Samuel, right? Are you ready to go?
I'm good to go.
Okay. What is Hannah's favorite color?
Black. No, obviously not. Purple. No.
Yes, again.
Do you know what my favorite color is? Pink.
Wow. You're running out of options on the rainbow now, man.
White. White. For the pureness inside.
Oh, cute, but no.
Right, moving on. What's Hannah's
Sunflower.
Oh, yeah.
okay. What's Hannah's least favorite meal?
Oh, is it favorite? Your least favorite meal?
Generalized.
Plain. She hates plain meats. So anything that's not spicy, anything that's bland, she can't stand it.
Okay. And then off the back of that, to make it easier for you, because I feel like I've thrown you in the deep end and you're already swimming with the
there you
sharks.
throw me out.
Go
You
for
throw
it.
me in there, yeah.
Right. What's her favorite meal?
Biryani.
Great. Okay. And what is one of Hannah's favorite places that she's visited that she would recollect fondly? Favorite place, holiday, trip?
America. Texas, especially.
Nashville.
And Nashville, yeah.
Wow. I like it, man. You're now getting on a roll, so
yeah.
Yeah. Is Hannah a morning or a night person?
Night person. I leave early in the morning and all I see is someone sleeping.
Yeah. And then the last one. No, sorry, I'll ask you two more. For Hannah, is she more Netflix or Disney Plus?
100% Netflix. She won't subscribe to Disney Plus.
Okay. And is she more into movies or documentaries?
Movies.
Okay. So you started off a bit shaky.
Yeah.
But hey, you're back in the good books now,
Good.
Right. Hannah, are you ready?
Go for it.
Awesome. Let's see. How are we going to mix this up? What is Samuel's favorite type of car?
Oh, I know. Audi S-Line.
Yeah.
And then BMW.
Yeah.
Sports CV something.
M Sport, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Wow.
And then,
Skyline. Listen, Skyline or Porsche.
oh yeah, you did mention that, yeah.
What is Samuel's favorite type of music?
It's gotta be Christian and country.
Ah, right. And who is Samuel's best friend in the whole world?
Nathan, without a doubt, Nathan, any
It's
day.
you, love.
Oh yeah.
I was literally waiting for that. I was like, this is a tricky one, you know? Let's see now. What's Samuel's favorite type of sport?
Oh, ice hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, because I thought it was going to be between ice hockey, golf, or is it badminton you used to play as
Yeah.
well?
I still play badminton. I
Wow.
love ice hockey, my favorite.
Yes, yeah. I couldn't play those sports myself. I don't have the coordination to use hockey sticks unless I'm swinging at someone's head, you know? That's about it. Let's see now. What's Samuel's favorite type of music or movie series?
War or anything to do with, do you know, the old kind of movies? Western, yeah, sorry.
Ah, so that's where he gets the love for country music as well, Western movies,
I
country
bought the
music.
country music, he bought the Western, so we
Yeah.
clicked.
Wow. John Wayne, is that what his
Oh
name
yeah,
is?
100%. I've all my cowboy hats. You saw my cowboy hats, my boots, and
Yeah.
and Hannah loves the country music, so that was one thing we really
Meant
picked
to
up.
do it, yeah.
Wow. A perfect match, so. And
Exactly.
what's Samuel's favorite thing to relax? Favorite thing to do just to relax? Is there a particular activity or?
He never relaxes, so that's the wrong question.
It's actually very cute. I was looking at her, I was like, I wonder what you're going to say because I don't even know.
Okay, let me switch it up. So, why is Samuel so busy?
Oh, he likes keeping busy. Like he
Right.
can't sit still. He has to do something.
So even him being on the podcast now, he's kind of being a bit angsty. He's kind of like, oh. Hannah's thinking about the podcast questions where Samuel's thinking about how can I renovate the house? What needs to be done next? Brilliant. Let's see. What is one of Samuel's favorite books in the Bible, or favorite Bible verse?
Books would be Matthew. And Bible verse. What should
You
we
know
look
what song? What song?
91.
Yeah.
Yeah, Psalms 91, yeah.
Wow, man, that's. I tell you now, Samuel, you started off shaky. Your wife started off strong, and she finished strong.
Okay, she did.
Brilliant. So that's. I kind of usually with the rapid fire round, I kind of have a list of them on the piece of paper, but I literally didn't. So I said, you know what, we'll just spit off the dome, and I'm going to think about questions about what I know about you both. The questions I know the answer to see if the other person knows. So it was kind of cool to see that play out, you know. So guys, this is the Hope Sessions podcast, right? And everyone has a story of hope. And hope to us is not this feeling or a concept, but rather it's the person of Jesus Christ. You know, and you're both wonderful Christian people, but you weren't always a Christian. There was a time in your life where you had to make that step of faith to call on Jesus to save you from sin and to make you born again and become a child of God. So would you both share your testimony of what your upbringing was like up until present day? Whoever wants to go first, I won't let you fight over it.
Okay. So I was blessed. I grew up in a Christian family. My parents and a couple other parents, my uncle set up a church down below in Waterford. And being in that environment, I was always exposed to God and always exposed to the Bible, always exposed to Christian living. And it became part of me. But it was really until I asked God into my life. I remember when I was maybe around 6 or 8, and I remember just sitting down one day and saying, am I going to heaven? And actually asked the question, then I was with my mom and I asked God into my life. And then I carried on. I followed God, prayed, but it was really until I came, I say around 18, 19. And it was at a time when I went to a conference up in Open Skies up in the north. And I had a touch with God that was supernatural. And it was like, I experienced God and the Holy Spirit in a warm and real way that actually opened my heart to see, do you know what? I have God literally. I read the Bible, I pray, and that's it. I carry on my life. I would go up the next morning, I read my Bible, open, pray. And then it just showed me that this is a God that I actually have through my heart. As a friend who I can actually pray to, who I can actually talk to, who actually can help me.
Yeah.
And it's because of that then when I experienced that Holy Spirit and God's special anointing, it was that it kind of took scales off my eyes. And I always say it in a way like that. Sometimes as a Christian, born to a Christian family, you think you don't have a testimony. But it was at that time where actually God showed me, I have a plan for you and I have a purpose. And you can either now follow me or not. But because when God touched me, there was nothing in my life ever going to come in the way again, because it was like, it gave me a hunger for more, a hunger and thirst for God. And from that time, like obviously I've been through a lot and had to grow up and come over different challenges. But it was really a time in my life that God showed me who He is. And it's something that I've tried to bring with me no matter where I've been and no matter what I've gone through. And how He showed me that He's the same God who loves you. And when I get through different times and I feel a bit distant from God, He reminds me again who He is. And I get down on my knees and I'm able to actually call out to Him again and get into that special presence of God and say, God, I lift you up, I give you glory. And it's really like that taught me once and for all that God is mightier than anything in this world. Like He can use anyone, and He can actually use you once you're willing and open, and once you're submissive and humble before Him. And that really kind of is my testimony. And then He kind of showed me different things. He showed me His power in different ways. He taught me many lessons, and even like when I couldn't even see a shape in my life, even before Hannah, like I was looking for someone, I couldn't see any purpose in my life. I was like, God, I'm here. Will You just use me or show me someone that I need in my life, or a partner? And God just opened up so many doors. And even now, when I'm looking back, as where I am like newly married, everything I've learned and He's taught me is actually benefiting. I'm able to talk to Hannah about, and I'm able to share it back. Say, I was actually in that position. God helped me.
Yeah.
And I can only see that now as God actually brought me through it. And sometimes all God wants us to do is be humble. That's and right. Actually come before Him and just say, God, I'm here. You can use me. You can do what you want with me. Yeah. And that's what He can. And that's really like where I kind of came from. I've talk to people. I go out on the street a bit, just doing evangelism and stuff, and I'm talking to people on the street. They're like, "You don't know who I am." They talk to me like, "How would you know what I go through? You weren't a drug dealer. You didn't have this problem, that problem." And I'm like, "No, but I still have things in my life that I need to save Him from. Yeah. I still think in my life that I needed Jesus, and it's the same Jesus, and He has spoken and touched my heart, and He speaks to me in my heart, and He can do the same for you." And that's really it. Like that. That's really what it kind of encourages me, is that, you know what, God can use anyone once you're actually willing, and then hopefully, Lord willing, He'll keep using me to be a blessing in His kingdom.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you know, when you were speaking, man, you mentioned it twice as you were sharing your testimony about, it's a common lie that I think Christians kind of fall under at times. It's that their story isn't powerful enough. You know, I didn't end up in a psychiatric ward, or I didn't do drugs, or I didn't rob a bank. And you know what? Thank God that you don't have that story, because you have a story of the keeping power of God. Like my own brother Danny, you know him well enough. He went into rehab, drugs, addiction, alcohol, all that sort of stuff. And I didn't have that, even though I lived in under the same roof as him. And I'm so thankful that I didn't. My testimony was a lot different. But your testimony is the power, the keeping power of God that kept you from a lot of heartbreak, a lot of those difficult trials that actually take a lot longer for people to carry on through. You're lucky that you didn't have to go through things like therapy, and not to say there's nothing wrong with them, but thank God that He spared you from that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And Hannah, would you share your testimony with us as well? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So I grew up in a Pentecostal family. My parents, so my dad came from a Roman Catholic background. My mom came from an Orthodox background, and they converted. They met the Lord and got saved, I think, a year before I was born. So they were new to the whole thing. So my kind of upbringing was, they were super strict growing up. Like, we used to be in church 4 days a week, and we were always there, always getting involved in things. To the point where, like, I was thankful I was born in a Christian upbringing, but at the same time, you know, when you're a child, when you want to go out and do things with your friends, but you can't, and you grow up resenting it, it's like, oh, I can't have fun because of Jesus and God and church, and, you know, like that kind of resentment builds up. So, and then always being around church folks and church people, I just got to the point where when I left home and went to college, I wanted nothing to do with God. I was like, it's not God I had a problem with,
Yeah.
but it was not God I had a problem with. It was more to do with the fact that I was sick of the whole, the rules and always being around them and the religion itself. It was not Jesus I had a problem with. So like
Sure.
my personal life, I was still like reading my Bible, praying and everything, but the whole aspect of going to church every Sunday, all of
Yeah.
that. Because I grew up in a Christian background, even if my mom asked me, oh, so what did the pastor preach about? I could make up something from my Sunday school recollection. So I used to no, I don't advise it, but I used to, and then just to get away with things because I wanted nothing to do with it. And then for almost 5 years, I somehow got through. Like, the Lord kept me. Obviously, he didn't hold it against me, and then it's obviously not by works, but so like so he kept me. And then I think towards the end of law school, I got to the point where all my friends were getting colleges and everything. Like, they had a plan, they had a future set up, and I had no idea what was happening. At that point I was like, Lord, I know I messed up. I know I messed up big time. Like, I want to come back to you. And I was trying. I was like, if you love me, just give me one chance and like let me come to you. And like, and he did. He opened up the whole opportunity. Like, I could come here, start a life, like, do things. And that's when the Lord taught me that from that point on is when I had a personal relationship with God. It was not my parents' God. It was not the upbringing Jesus, but it was like my personal savior, like my Jesus. So it was only from that point. So I'd say like, even though I knew Jesus and I prayed and I did everything, it was only at what, 2022 or something like that. Oh, actually, no, Anyway, so it was only at that point I was like, okay, like I really need Jesus, and it was only from that point I grew up with a personal relationship rather than the whole religion aspect of it. It was like a relationship from that point, and from that point the Lord helped me grow in the relationship and see him as my best friend, go to him for things rather than just make up stories or like call my mom or ask her to pray about things because I was too lazy to pray about it or things like that. So that's when the Lord taught me, and he started molding me, and here we are.
That's awesome. And I agree with aspects of your testimony when you were talking about the rules part of it. Because what I thought Christians were, they went around with this big hyper energetic smile, and I'm just like, when I don't smile, I look angry. I'm just like, I'm not depressed. It's just my resting face, And when I went to church, and the first sermon I ever heard where the pastor opened up the book of Revelation, and I thought it was a Marvel comic. So I was like, okay, where's Captain America? Where's what's going to happen next? And I just got bogged down with the rules and the regulations. And do you know what I've learned? The rules are not restriction, it's protection. And you don't see that at the time. It takes the journey to look back and go, yeah, the Lord was protecting me from all that. I didn't see it at the time because I wanted to be God of my own life and have him as a substitute that I would tag in when I was kind of tired, rather than let him be the one on the field, me be on the bench, just chilling and watching him be the victorious one in my life, And I love it because to think of it now, it's so obviously we're on the topic of before/after the ring. So you both have shared your testimonies, how the Lord himself has wonderfully came into your life and transformed not only your eternity, but your present life, how you live life. And now he has brought you both together, one woman, one man for one lifetime. But I suppose the obvious question I want to ask is, because I'm a lover of love stories, right? Don't worry, I don't watch chick flicks or any of that sort of stuff. But I like to hear the reality of it. So, like, how did you guys meet is the first question that I would ask. It sounds like a very basic question, but it didn't just happen. That obviously there was intentionality from Samuel to see you and go, I want to get to know you and reach out and then start the dialogue. So, do you want to share kind of how you guys met? Whoever wants to take that question.
So we were on Salt, which is a Christian dating app. Is it still there?
It's still there.
Yeah. What you know? Yeah, so we were on Salt, and yeah, so we hooked up with that, and I was just like from the start, I was on it for a while, met up a few people, wasn't going anywhere, and I was like, you know what, I just want to meet you, have a conversation, meet up for a coffee, and I was like, when do you want to meet? I said I didn't even talk about my past or anything or what I'm interested in. I was like, no, we'll do that face to face. I'm not having all this awkwardness when we meet and nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
So then I said, where do you want to meet? And he says, I'll meet you in church Sunday. And I was like, wow. As soon as she said meet you in church, and I was like, that's amazing. I'm absolutely so delighted. So that's where we met, and I met her in church, outside church. And yeah, we had our first date, our first meeting, and then it kind of progressed from there.
Yeah. And I suppose not to ask this in a tricky way, right? But see, guys are very simple with stuff, whereas women are into like the finer detail, the approach, the motivation behind the motive and all this. And guys will be just going, ah, yeah, whatever. Like, so Hannah, I want to ask you, how did it make you feel, right, to know that Samuel, not only did he reach out to you, but he wanted to meet up with you in person, and then you said to meet in church, and he actually drove all the way up to you. Did that impress you? Did it make you kind of go, oh, this is kind of different? How did it make you feel?
To be honest with you, like you meet guys on the app saying yes, they're Christians,
Mm,
and then like when you meet up with them, it's not the case. So
yeah,
like it was just like a disappointment phase, and then I was just like, okay, this is if it doesn't work. So I was just like, I want to meet up in church, and I want to see what his relationship is with God, and not just like somebody who just like says he's a Christian, but like I want to see like what relationship he has with God, and how does he respond to the sermon and the worship, and like I want to see his heart for God, and that's the
yeah,
reason we asked him over to church, just to see if it's actually what he says he is. And like also it's my church, like I don't go with his, like I yeah, so it's like it's gonna be safe space, because like it's gonna be my pastor, so if anything goes wrong.
yeah.
So anyways, it was really good, because obviously I got to see that side of him, and then it's funny, because I know this might not mean much, but a lot of guys don't really like bring Bibles or like to church anymore. And
Mm,
when he walked in with the Bible, it's me.
yeah,
It's like the small things, but I was just like, he actually brought a Bible, and I was so excited about that, like a physical Bible. I mean,
yeah,
we all have Bibles on the phones, and
sure.
sometimes I bring my phone Bible as well. But there's the fact that like he actually came with this thick Bible. Oh, I was so delighted. I was like, that is a man who reads the scripture. And I was like, it was a used Bible as well, and I was just
Wow.
like, it's a small things, but it really showed his heart for God, and so
Mm,
that's when I knew, okay, he's not just somebody who's faking it. He's actually somebody who's living it.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so from that point onwards was good, yeah.
that's awesome. And you said something there, Hannah, and I want to add on to it. You said about how some guys can be weird.
Hmm.
Let me clarify or maybe add on to that statement. On Christian dating apps, both sides of the fences are weird.
I
Before I met my wonderful girlfriend Vinny, there has been a few creatures, we'll call them, and what the profile bio on that says compared to the interactions in person, it's night and day. It's not matching. But I love the fact that you said that Samuel brought a Bible, as in something so simple to bring a Bible with him, but yet it shows, and the fact that it was used, so he couldn't have just bought it on Amazon and quickly kind of scribbled in it just to kind of make it look impressive. I love that that was something that struck your heart, and the fact that he went up. Sam, kudos to you, man. Seriously, like most guys would be like, "Here, yeah, I'll meet you halfway." Or so well done, man, for, as they say, pardon the pun, going the extra mile, huh?
I always think a man should go the extra mile. I'm a man that believes in chivalry,
Yeah.
and I believe that you should always go the extra mile for your girl. And if you can't do it from the start, you might as well give up. I know we're going to go into detail, but marriage is about going the extra mile, and you keep
Mm,
going the extra mile. And I just started it, but I think if you can't do it from the start, just give up. Like, you know what I mean? You
yeah,
make sure your woman is actually from the start like treasured, and you're going to actually give your time, give your whatever you require, your finances, to respect her time.
yeah. That's awesome. So how long did you guys date before you got engaged? And it's not a trick question, Samuel, so please don't freak out. I'm
No,
just
no, no, no,
curious.
okay.
July.
July, but when did we start? How many months?
Engagement was in June.
Yeah, no, but when did we start talking? It was-
July.
No, it wasn't a month. Oh, 9? A year, is it? Yeah,
Almost a year.
yeah, so 11 months, I think.
Awesome. So the next question, because I brought up engagement, is what was the proposal like? The proposal day. How did that happen? Was it planned? Was Hannah surprised? Did it go to plan? Yeah. A wide variety of a question. But yeah, if you're okay with giving us some of the details of what the day looked like, that would be awesome.
Jeremy,
Go for it.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Yes. Just so you know, we matched on the 15th of July,
Mm.
2022, and our first date was on 37th of July, 2022. Just
Wow.
throwing that in there. Just so
Yeah.
we have the dates right. And so bringing it up now to June, the June bank holiday. I basically had been planning for a couple of months this engagement. I had gone through and got the ring custom made as much as I could.
Yeah.
Got her finger measured without her knowing. I actually got that the first date, I think. First day I went into the Judas the first or second date, and got her to try on a ring just so she'd just to get it out there, so I knew I wouldn't have to ask again. And then so I had the ring organized. Then I decided that I would have it in a garden, and I wanted it. I got it into, it was the Ultimo Gardens in Carlow. So I got
Right.
onto them and I actually asked them, can I hire the garden?
Mm.
But they don't hire them. So they said I could actually use a part of it. So I went up 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, and now she was asking me now questions what we were doing. But I went up, I looked around the garden where it'd be a good shot for me to propose.
Mm.
And I then found the right area, but it was like stained glass in the back, old room of the building with trees hanging around it. So then I walked around the garden and I filmed out on my phone the steps I was going to go, because I wanted a photographer to capture the moment so that he'd know exactly the path I was going to pick.
Yeah.
And then I got Nathan and Cassia, obviously brilliant, shout out to them. I got them involved, and I said we are going to meet up for a meal later on that day. So I got them to go in advance, and I bought "Will You Marry Me" sign in luminous lights.
Yeah.
And I bought rose petals, and I had a love heart tea lights that I wanted two, a white and a red love heart going together, and I had helium balloons. So basically, I had a chair laid out so that "Will You Marry Me" across the chair, the lights, two love hearts in front of the rose petals, and then on top of it, then I wanted them to play a special song. It was called "Buy Dirt" by Jordan Davis, which is her favorite song.
Nice.
And so then I went off. I got her a dress, got her shoes, got her nails done, and so basically she was doing an exam the week before. So I said, you know what, you need a treat for you after your exam. So I got her nails done.
And then as an exam present, because I passed it, he got me the dress.
Oh yeah, I got a dress, and I managed to get her in. It was a special dress that she said before.
I was dropping pins. I was like,
before
if I'm ever to get proposed to, this has to be the dress. So I was dropping hints, and he actually picked up on all the hints, like spot on with everything, all the small details. He had it down to the T. Yeah, so I eventually got her in there. I had a matching shirt, red shoes, because I wanted to match her. Like, do you know what I mean? So then, and the song came on with Della Money and asked her to marry me. You sure did.
Yeah. Do you know that I love how?
Yeah, you did. She didn't even say yes, like she just kept laughing. And I was like,
was the laughing because of shock, or because of it felt like you knew it was going to happen, but it kind of took you off guard, kind of?
I didn't know what was going to happen till I was walking down, and I was trying to smell the roses for the first time in my life that day. And he wanted me to be on time, so I was like wondering why he was being so impatient. And then now I know, but when I got there, it was a shock of it all: the song, the photographer, the signs, and I wasn't expecting it. So I started laughing, and like a few minutes later, I asked him, "Did I say yes?" And then he's like, "I hope so." And sorry with the photographer, did I actually say yes? Thankfully, did, yeah.
Wow, that's And I know I mentioned that lads are kind of simple, but like when a woman says something, lads take notes, either mentally or on their phone. I know I do. I'll open up a notes app on my iPhone. I'm just taking down bullet points. Don't tell anyone because it's none of their business, but it's just there because if I don't, I will forget.
Mm.
You know, so Sam, I know exactly what you were doing, man, because we all do that, you know.
Yeah, it's worth it. It means more.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does, yeah.
Because I often wonder, right? You know, when people do like surprise engagements and stuff, like I think the biggest hurdle to get over, which you seem to make it so easy, how you managed to get her ring size without
Listen,
making it obvious.
I went off and got her. I said, you know the Kappa rings? Do you know the
Yeah,
local, Claddagh, sorry, yeah, Claddagh rings. And I was like, they were like whatever, €20, €25. I said, oh, these are lovely now. I said, because you love me, you can get one of these. And so I was like, oh, actually, while you're at it, I said, measure up for all her ring sizes. So I didn't. That's how I got it. But I got it
He did.
really early, like in
The first time he said I love you, or I said I love you as a gift. So like he used that as an excuse to, get me there, get me sized.
yeah.
He did, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Sam, well done to you, man. I love the fact that you were manning up, for lack of a better term, and you were leading by example, man. That is incredible. And then you guys, I suppose let's move kind of swiftly on. You guys got married in India, right?
Yeah,
So, because I seen a picture of it, Sam, and I loved your outfit, man. I loved the traditional wear. You made it rock on you.
thanks, bye.
So what was the wedding like? Was it, Sam, was it kind of weird for you going to another country to get married, or what did that look like? Because obviously you're Irish and Hannah, you're Indian, right? So there's naturally the two different cultures kind of coming together, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't find it that weird at all, to be honest with you. I was just so calm. I was just like so happy to marry this woman. I
Yeah,
was like, I don't care what she does. She was all buzzing with her friends, buzzing before it, organizing it, like down to the detail of what we're going to do, what we're going to wear. I said, you know what? She was ringing me, what do you want to wear? I said, you know what? You pick my clothes. I give you your size. What you want me in, you will do. I said, I'll be brutally honest. I don't know anything about the Indian fashion. So
sure.
what you want me to wear, you pick. And that's where I just went to the then we I loved it. I actually really enjoyed the day. I enjoyed all the way up to it. I wasn't nervous. All her parents and family are amazing.
Yeah,
Like shout out to them. Like they are just they are the best. Like they got me into their house. They all came around me, like treated me like family. I felt like I literally the first day when I came in, I felt like I was part of them. I was literally in
wow.
like maybe 5 minutes and I was in there playing board games, beating them at chess, beating her young cousin or whatever at chess. Like, it was a great crack. Like it was very relaxed, very family orientated. Lovely time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Hannah, what was it like for you? Because I think I would be right in saying this, that a woman thinks about her wedding day far more than she will ever admit. Long before Sam was in the picture, you had thought about your wedding day, what music, what dress, what food, who you were going to invite. So what was it like for you to live out the reality of a dream you once had now as a reality in your life?
To be honest, like you said, a woman plans everything. As from the day she plays, dolls and they get married, from that day onwards she start thinking.
Yeah,
So I only knew like I had everything down to the D. I just needed the guy to marry him. That's all.
yeah,
And God bought him for me. So we had an intimate wedding. I didn't want many people because sometimes you can get caught up in like people pleasing and everything. So we had like just the close people, just be in the moment, enjoying each other as well, because
yeah,
there's no pressure of like performing or smiling or anything. Just to sit down, do your thing, and just take it all in. You can see all the faces. It was beautiful.
yeah,
And the fact that like his mom also came down and like was really nice. It was just like my family was there, and like actually like really respect him because like he was actually put in a position where like not many of his family was there, but like flying down to a foreign country and getting married on his
yeah,
first trip to India. So it's a lot, like, to be honest, but like he took it as a charm, but like he did amazing. So like, yeah, that was amazing.
that's awesome. Wow. And now you guys are married, right? And you know the way naturally people have these, we have assumptions about a lot of stuff. And oftentimes those assumptions we have are not true. So what assumptions did you both have? Yeah, what assumptions did you both have prior to being married that now you're married are not true? You know, like what did you think marriage was going to be when you were single, and now that's not a reality? You know, like maybe lies about marriage or
We were actually discussing this yesterday. So, do you know how people say, "Oh, marriage is work, marriage
Hmm,
is hard"? It is. But yesterday we were saying, it feels like I'm living with my best friend.
yeah.
It doesn't feel all that hard. Obviously you have hard days and easy days. But I was just telling him, like, it doesn't feel like I'm married. It just feels like I'm living with my best friend. And
Yeah.
like it's so much fun. And then he said, maybe that is like a preconceived notion, like, marriage has to be sad, marriage has to be, like all of that. And like the fact that, and then we were like, why do we have to have a negative image about marriage?
Hmm,
It can be positive as well. Like you can speak life into it. And by
that's right.
saying, oh, marriage has to be a certain way, like a stereotype where people like, make jokes about it, like, oh, you're married, blah, blah, blah. Like it's always in a negative light. But like, like speaking of it in a positive light and like not being surprised about it because like that's how marriage is supposed to be, like, because you have God in the center, he's going to help you through it.
Yeah.
And so like that was something we were discussing yesterday. Like it doesn't have to be on like downhill just because you're married, or it doesn't have to be, oh, it's the end of fun for you. Like it's not. It's like you're married to your best friend, and yeah.
Second best.
Wow.
You know what? I'll tell you something. Once he actually told me, "Han, I promise you, I love you more than cars." And I was like, I didn't even know that was actually a thing. Cars, like,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
But so I just jump in that as well. Just one other
Yeah,
thing
man. Sure.
that people always said at the start, right? Oh, the first bit is brilliant. This is your honeymoon phase. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about that. We are now 4 months married and we're enjoying it a little bit more because we got to know each other. As a Christian and as a Christian couple,
Yeah.
you don't live together. You honor God and you honor
Hmm,
God in a relationship. And that's what we both believed and that's what we did. So you don't know the small things, what it's like living with a woman. You've never done it. I've lived with Nathan. That's different. But the thing is that you never done it, and it takes time,
yeah.
and it takes time to understand each other. So when we were actually starting, like, oh, why are we enjoying ourselves, and what's happening here? Why are we not understanding each other? Why don't we, like, even the simple things, like she was getting annoyed at me how I was washing my dishes, like, and like do you know what I mean, like simple things like that, because you don't know each other, you're not used to it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that, and what we learned from the start is that, you know what, slow it down. We just put God in the center. We get on our knees. We pray together, and
Hmm,
we honor God, and we give each other time and patience. And don't try to have like a word say, "Oh, enjoyment is going to be so much crack and this is the best fun." If it's not now, it's never. Lies. I'm only married 4 months, but
yeah.
slow it down. Get to know each other. You're doing it the right way. Honor God. You honor God from the start. Honor God through it, and
Yeah.
give each other time to learn and adapt. Don't try like we didn't like start forcing stuff onto we must do this or must do that. I'm a little bit, I know, of like a freak about different things, like OCD a little bit on the spectrum. But I was like, you know what, God give me the grace. Just like it's okay. You don't need to worry about these things. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I love? I love the chemistry that you both have. It's so there, like, like you complement each other. You as one of you are talking, the other one's looking at each other, and and you're smiling and you're enjoying how the other person is speaking on the particular topic. And I'm gonna ask you a question, right? Um, now this is kind of, you could say 10 things or 100 things or a million things, but what is something that you've learned about your partner, your husband or wife, that you love about them more now than maybe you did before?
I was saying to Hannah before, I was saying it's like that at the start, it's hard. Okay, you go through the dating phase, but really when you marry someone, you see things like a lot more differently. You learn,
Hmm,
like even like Hannah's. As I was saying to her, like that, I never thought I'd have such a woman after God and such a woman caring. Like I always prayed for a woman after God, but
yeah.
I didn't know this in the start. And it's only when you go through challenges, I think. Now, I no take it like we only inform us, right? I know we have low similar, but all I can say from our view here is that, in my view, especially, is that when you go through challenges, and if it's like money, or if it's like jobs, or if it's like sickness, you see, it's like when you get dirty and you're like, you have to go through stuff, and there's nothing nice about it. You have to just get on your knees and pray together. That's something I really learned about Hannah, like that she's there, she would get on her knees, she would pray, and her heart, her caring heart, has just kind of blown me away, that I didn't actually know was there beforehand. That the way, like, the supportiveness and the respect, and like, it's unbelievable. And I never do that until actually you go through things and actually see the kind of person she really is. Because they say, like, fire tests, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you go to refine through heat.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really true. Like, I think with marriage anyway, like that, you start seeing things very quickly, that what the person's really like, and Lord willing, like, she's encouraging. She's an encouragement. A blessing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you maybe have anything you want to add, Hannah? If not, there's no pressure.
Yeah, actually, with Samuel, the thing is, like, he's one of the most thoughtful, caring people I know. Like it's even the small things. Like, for women, it's a small thing that matters. For example, like, he brings me coffee every morning, and it's one of the sweetest things, and like, it's continuing, and like, I know it might not be like the biggest thing, but like, for women it means so much. And like, even the other things, like, I was sick and then I found him like praying for me when I was sleeping. And then, like, when I woke up, he was praying for me. And then I was just like, okay. Like, that's when you know, like, the person genuinely cares. Or sometimes, like, when I wake up and he's about to leave for the office, he's just like standing there praying for me, like, like, hand on my head, just like praying, and then God take care of me, all of that. It's those things. And like, I see his heart for God, and I see his house surrendering a marriage to God, and like praying for me, taking my issues. Like, I was going through challenges at work, and like, I was going through a lot of like emotions which I've never dealt with, like, people playing dirty politics and all that, and I didn't really know how to deal with it. And having a partner like who's been through things, and then having him, like, like, encourage me in the Lord, and like get on the knees. So like, I know for a fact that he's always, like, during his lunchtime and even in the morning hours before going to work, he gets on the knees, he's praying to God, and then goes on, like, he's praying for me as well. So knowing that someone is there to fight your spiritual battles and help you fight your spiritual battles, and like take you to the Lord, to take your problems to the Lord, and like it's one of the biggest support. Like, okay, like, there can be other supports like financial or whatever, but I think the fact that, like, that's one thing that he actually, like, shows, like, the way he prays for me, the way he takes my problems to the Lord, and like, at the end of the day, Lord is a provider, and like, he is a Jireh. And so, like, the fact that he's taking, like, my worries and my everything to the Lord with the same emotions, like, as if it is his own problem. So like, that is what matters at the end of the day. Like, that's one way to show love. And like, that's one thing, like, I absolutely cherish about him, like how he encourages me in the Lord. And I once prayed for someone who actually, like, uplifts me, and like, who doesn't make me feel stupid about not knowing everything or not having everything right in my life. But slowly but surely, like, even with something, for example, I'll be honest with you, like, I didn't really, my circles, like, so my language wasn't really the best, like, I would use bad language and things. But after marriage, like, slowly through love, I mean, and like, like, it has helped me, take care of, like, slowly but surely, like, take that out. And it's obviously the prayer, and sometimes he has things that, I might be doing things which he doesn't like, but he takes it to the Lord. And like, a few weeks later, he tells me, and then he sees a breakthrough, and then he's like, "Oh, I was praying about that to the Lord, and I got my answer. I didn't have to come to you." So, yeah. Wow. So it's involving the Lord, even in the big things and the small things. But
that's right.
Like, that's the third person in the relationship. Yeah. So like, genuinely bringing him into everything is what really helped us so far. Yeah,
that's awesome. Hannah, I want to say this, right? And you don't know this because you were a bridesmaid for Cassia on Nathan's wedding day, and Samuel was a best man for Nathan. And I remember telling people in my church and my housemates Stan and Sean that not only was Samuel really good at what he done on the day. But I genuinely mean this. I've been to about 7 or 8 weddings in my life, and Samuel was the best man I've ever seen in my life. From before they even kissed each other on the lips and the celebration afterwards, like Nathan on the day we went for breakfast, and Nathan naturally his brain is just going zzz. He has all these checklists that he needs to do, and Samuel was looking at him like, he's like, Nathan, no, just eat your breakfast. Don't worry about Cassia's family. I'm going to go pick them up. And rightfully he did. He had a quick bit of breakfast. He ran off and he was doing a taxi service for all her family, bringing them to the hotel to get them ready and dolled up and glammed. And then when we were in the room getting ready, the photographer was there and Nathan wanted to write the vows and get pictures. And Nathan was getting anxious. He's going, this has to be done. This has to be done. Samuel was like, Nathan, stop. Just get in the shower. You smell. Get ready. Focus on the day. Focus on the day. Don't worry about anything else. And a lot of people don't know this. They see the best man and they think the best man, sure, all he has to do is give a speech and make people laugh. That's an element. That's the fun part of his job. I suppose the more stressful part is where the best man is running around behind the scenes, making sure that all the suits are there, that the flowers go in the suit, that the groom's party show up on time. He's communicating with the bridal team, and is she ready to come yet? It's 2 o'clock, and you're not here yet. What's going on? Nathan's sitting up the front of the altar, and he's like hyperventilating, and Samuel's reassuring. It's like, it's okay, mate. Don't worry. She's here. She's on her way. She's on her way. And I remember the morning of the wedding, the groomsmen, we were just standing around waiting for people to start coming in, And at the table where they were going to sign the marriage certificate, there was no water. And, naturally, the married couple will get thirsty, they get nervous, so their throat will dry up. So Samuel said I don't know, I think she was the wedding coordinator anyway. She wasn't a very nice person, would put it that way, in a nice way. Samuel asked her for 2 bottles of water, like tiny little things, right? And it was almost as if he asked her for €1 million. She was just, I'm going to say it, right? And the Lord will forgive me. She was a bit of a snobby yoke. And that's putting it bluntly. I thought your job as a wedding coordinator or organizer is to go above and beyond because the married couple are paying you something like 10,000 or whatever for the wedding, da da da. And it was just like, water's free. Like, just get the bottles of water and just get on with it. But I genuinely mean that, Sam, man. You minister to me what it's like to sacrifice your own time so that your best friend could enjoy the best day of his life outside of knowing Jesus. Nathan and Cassie will never know all the running around you done, the running up and down to the bridal suite, speaking to the guests, speaking to the band, the pastors, just everything that you were doing, and you made it seem so easy. And I was a best man at my brother's wedding in 2017, and it was incredible. Really was one of the best days of my life, being able to stand beside my best friend when he got to marry his best friend. And you modeled to me what it's like to celebrate your best friend marrying his best friend on that day. And I want to say that in front of your wife because it's important, man. Thank you so much for the example of a friend you are to Nathan, because it ministered to me. And I have told the lads in our church about it because you went above and beyond. When I've seen some people as a best man and they literally just care about the speech. It's like they're at the Oscars and they just want, oh, the light's on me. But you didn't care about that, man. This was for your friend so that your friend could enjoy his day. And I don't want to feel like I'm babbling on, but you really done an exceptional job, man. You really did.
Thanks very much. Thanks. Look, as I was saying, it was an honor to be the best man. I just wanted him to have an amazing day. As I said to him, I'm like he was, he panics a bit.
Yeah.
As when the night before he said, I need to do this, need to do this. Just relax, just enjoy the day. Because I didn't want him to wake up the next day and be like, oh, it's done.
Yeah.
What happened? Where did it go? Do you know what I mean? Like, so,
Exactly.
no, look, thanks. I must say, I had couldn't have done it without all the lads with me, especially you, like up and down the room as well, bringing presents all over the shop. And I tell you one thing, they're all like brilliant, like all strong men, like who are just there for Nathan, like, do you know what I mean? It was a great day for him. We're just behind him and enjoying it. We even got learned samba. Like that was
yeah. We were burning calories before we got to the dance floor,
Yeah, you said it wasn't samba. The cheek
It
of that.
was even dancing.
Yeah, well, we tried samba.
Alan, if you're watching this, I apologize if you felt insulted. I thought you were a phenomenal samba teacher for that half an hour. Bro, I was out of, she doesn't know this, right? I was out of breath doing it with the left, right, up, down.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I just want to sit down. Like, I'm tired. But as a way to wrap it up, I want to ask one question. I want to ask you both, Sam, if you'd speak to the guys, and Hannah, if you'd speak to the girls. It's a question of practical advice, right? Because in Ireland, we are very slow to encourage people. We are terrible at receiving encouragement. The dating, everyone wants to date. Everyone watches all these things, Love is Blind, Love Island, and Are You the One, and X on a Beach, and all this stuff. It's all these love podcasts are the most popular ones in the world. If you think of Taylor Swift, if you think of Ed Sheeran, Drake, these guys wouldn't have a career if they didn't write about love. So it's a massive topic to cover, but it gets awkward, the dating thing. A lot of guys are terrible at approaching women, and me included before I met Vinny, and I know why. Because guys wrestle with the fear of rejection so much. It is much easier for a guy to text a woman and get rejected over a text than do it in person.
Hmm.
And I suppose I want to ask you both, could you give some advice? Because you guys got married, so naturally you've gone through that dating stage. And maybe could you speak to the man and the women, whoever's listening to this, in their dating season, what it looks like? How can they date? Some advice to help them through some of the awkwardness and the nervousness around it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, for the men anyway, look, I think even Christian men, obviously we were talking about it. Christian men need to, I think, obviously, yeah, rejection is one thing, but learn to be, I hate this term, friends first, but it's actually just to be friendly.
Yeah.
You should learn to talk to women in a nice way, respectful way, same like your sister, like, do you know what I mean? Because as you even said, like, your friends, okay, the marriage is love, but your friends, you have to live with each other, you have to have a bit of banter, have a bit of fun. They like you need to enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
And I think like for the men anyway, like that, okay, I would have been against dating sites from the start, but use them as a platform. Said, you know what, do you want to meet up for coffee? And take that step, knowing that, you know what, if you're praying for something, which I did, and I prayed a lot for, and I fasted for a wife. Now there's obviously then there's faith as a step, and that requires being a bit vulnerable, putting your hands in God, putting your life in God's hands. And God, I'm willing to take the step. Maybe it might work, maybe it will, but I believe you have someone there for me. So be willing to be vulnerable, be friendly, and then take a step, and then keep it like and keep her. I don't want to say keep her real. It sounds terrible, but like
Cliche.
yeah, cliche, terrible cliche. But it's kind of in a way like for example, Hannah asked me to come to the meeting, and I wasn't, and like I was like, okay, I am so happy, and she was like, I'm not a Christian, and I was like, so happy. If I go into a meeting, I'm gonna praise God, and that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, keep it the way you want to. Like, don't be having lies because they'll all come down.
Yeah.
If you want to build up lies now before in your dating scene, they will be cut very, very quickly because your true colors will come across. So it's only create more issues. You'll have like challenges, but it's going to create more. So that's what I would do. Be friendly, especially men. Take a step, come up to the woman and say, "Do you want this?" Like, what's the worst that can happen? She then sees, okay, someone's interested in me, or so yeah, she came up to me, even if it's just to have a conversation or meet for a coffee. Like it's good for her and it's good for you. So take a step, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, charming, like, do you know what I mean? Like, be nice, like, do you know what I mean? I do it in the right way, respectful, and keep it right, like, and keep it like as if Jesus is beside you, the same way you're going to keep him there from the start till the end. And that's what I can say really is that because I don't know, but like I find a lot of Christian circles before, it's like, especially when you're young adults or when you're of that age, it's like, oh, who's making a move there and he's making a move there, or it's like, no, I'm just trying to be friendly, I'm trying to get to know you. I'm like, I will never marry you until I get to know you. So I just try to just break down those barriers, mix, so take the step. If you look like the fool, who cares? You're going like you trust God. Do you know what I mean? He's gonna have a wife for you. Be a fool and just trust God and make a step.
Yeah, I love it. What about you, Hannah? Would you have some advice or tips for the girls when a guy approaches them, or that kind of vibe?
Yeah. First of all, just like giving a guy a chance in the first place. Because like a lot of Christian guys would be awkward or like nervous, or because we grew up around like don't talk to girls or don't talk to boys kind of environment, so like from not talking, suddenly you go into the dating phase, and you obviously naturally awkward. So like, first of all, giving guys a chance in the first place, and like initiating conversation, even if the guy is not saying the things that you want to hear, ask him questions. You don't have to. I'll be honest, like I was actually the first one to like text him on the dating app.
Sure.
So like, don't be like shy to not make a move. Like if you're interested, go for it. There's nothing wrong for the making the first move or starting conversation. It doesn't always have to be the traditional way, oh, the guy has to approach me first. Like if you are intentional about dating, if you're intentional about Christian dating, do it. And like sometimes it doesn't always have to be like, oh, I'll just wait here till the guy comes to me. But sometimes it's also like going out there, putting yourself out there. Yes, you might be vulnerable. Yes, you might look stupid. Sometimes you might be like, oh, why is she going around talking? But sometimes you need to make the first move, like, make your intentions clear. And like, and even if you're talking to somebody, just like don't cut them off on the first or the second day just because it's not going the way you want it to. Like, I'll be honest, in our relationship, the first or second day, I was like, yes, it was really amazing, but it was something that built up, like, it was like slowly, but like there's so much there. But then it was the more we talked to each other, the more we spent time with each other, that's when we knew, okay, this is it. But that is only because we actually like took time to like spend time with each other, even if it's over the phone, because I was in Dublin, he's in Watford. So like even if it's on the phone, just like talk to the person, try to get to know the person, ask questions, and even like expectations, because girls have a lot of things going on in their head. So like, like ask him questions, even if it's tough questions, like, dreams, or how exactly would you treat me in such and such situations, or just because you might have expectations but he might not be thinking about them.
That's
And
right.
in the long run you will come across that situation, and like this expectation in your head can backfire because he might be thinking about it in a different way. But if you start the conversation right now, you know how he's going to react in the situation. He knows what you are expecting from him. So like having the communication, even if it's tough conversations about financials, or like plans, or travel, anything at all, like just have the tough conversation, make a move. You don't have to always like, we are in the 21st century at the end of the day, so like it doesn't have to be where the guy always has to do the thing. You always, he has a lot. It's tough for men out there these days. It's to also think that like they're also human beings with emotions, like they're also scared of getting shot down. And especially with all that's going on these days, men are scared to approach women. So like sometimes we gotta make a move and just get out there. Yeah.
And just say one thing to that as well, if you don't mind. Just Hannah said, okay, she reached out to me, but then like that struck so much to me. Like I was like, this woman actually took a step, and then I respected it so much. I was like, you know what, this is just so amazing. So it was like every step I was going to do, because I was like, she beat me to the post, so I was going to give it back. But like it was like that kind of way, and that was one thing. But also, Hannah mentioned about hard conversations. As Christians, I don't think you should be like afraid of hard conversations. Go straight in. You're a Christian, like just like say watching about God or talk about family. Like we're not like here for a game. If they are for the game, that's good. If they get scared, good. But like don't ever be afraid to have a hard conversation. And I think anyway, like, but no, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I love it. Do you know, as I've been having this podcast episode with you, I've literally been taking so many mental notes myself. I really have. Just the views as a woman and as a man combined have been just a reflection of what God has done in both your lives. I want to take a moment just to say thank you. It sounds cliche, but this podcast episode wouldn't happen without the both of you saying yes, to give up your evening, to come on and be vulnerable in the way you both have, be testimonial as well, how the Lord is at work in and through you both in the context of your relationship. Because I'm encouraged, and I know, I have no doubt in my mind, whoever listens to this will be able to take the gems or the truths, the encouragement you both shared, and allow it to minister to them and actually build up their confidence and courage so they can approach their dating and engagement life or married life in a godly way as well. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for your friendship, first and foremost, and secondly, for coming on tonight. It's been a blessing to have you both on the podcast.
Yeah,
you.
and I know we're the same way, Jerry. Thanks for asking us, and we're honored that you asked us to be here. And we're we appreciate your friendship, obviously, and we hope that this will be a blessing. As we said, we prayed before we came on. We just want to look. We're learning a lot. We learn a lot from others. We just want to be some people that are Christians that go into marriage and want to be blessings to others out there, because it is challenging, and we want to represent God in our marriage, really. And thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Guys, for the rest of you that are still tuning into the podcast, thank you for tuning in. I trust that in some way it was of a help to you. That we can take all the awkwardness out of the dating and the engagement and the married life and make it practical. So maybe for you, as you're listening to this, why not send this podcast to a friend, a family member, a colleague, or potentially that person you've got your eye on, and ask them to have a listen and see what they think. It might be a tool. We're laughing, but it might be a tool to strike up a conversation. And you never know what the Lord might do through a simple act of sending the link to them and just saying, here, I thought of you as I was listening to this, with a winky face, you know. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next week, take care. God bless. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Hope Sessions podcast. Did you enjoy the episode? Maybe did it encourage you or motivate you? Do you think there's someone in your life could benefit or be blessed by this episode? If so, then why not send it to them? Lastly, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you use. This massively helps to spread the podcast literally all across the world. And don't forget, the hope is to life as oxygen is to the body. God bless you and have a wonderful week. Take care.